Okey, pertamanya saya mengucap syukur kepada Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala kerana diberi izin dan peluang untuk berkongsi dengan tuan-tuan dan puan-puan untuk berkongsi sedikit pengalaman mungkin tentang salah satu daripada core competency yang kita ingin tekankan di Universiti Sains Malaysia dalam competency framework kita. Dan saya diberi tugas untuk berbincang tentang strategic thinking. Dan pertamanya saya ambil peluang ini untuk mengucapkan tahniah bagi mereka yang masih tinggal dalam bilik ni lah. Sebab semalam penuh, hari ini agak kurang. So saya rasa first of all, congratulations for you to honor pilihan rakan-rakan anda bagi calon-calon dekan. Okay. Kerana beradanya anda di sini adalah anda menyahut tanggungjawab atas pandangan rakan-rakan yang telah memberi kepercayaan kepada anda. Sebab saya tahu ada juga yang menarik diri lah. So yang menarik diri ni maknanya dia tidak sanggup dan mungkin mereka ingin kekal dalam dia comfort zone. Okay. Bila dia tak sanggup, maknanya dia kekal dalam comfort zone. Tetapi saya rasa ini boleh menjadi satu fardu kifayah lah apabila kita diberikan satu amanah. Jadi saya ingin ucapkan tahniah kepada tuan-tuan dan puan-puan yang sanggup melalui proses setakat ini. Dalam masa yang sama, saya juga ingin mengucapkan tahniah bagi mereka yang juga telah mencalonkan diri sendiri kerana anda ingin membantu universiti. Dan saya ingin mengucapkan tahniah dan syabas kerana bukan senang untuk kita mencalonkan diri sendiri, volunteer. So tahniah juga, dan juga kepada mereka yang sedang melalui laluan kerjaya, saya juga ingin mengucapkan tahniah dan semoga anda berjaya dan semoga perkongsian 2 hari ini akan memberikan satu pengalaman dan juga satu ilmu yang bermanfaat. Mungkin bukan dalam konteks semasa, tapi pada konteks masa akan datang. Saya akan try to bring down presentation sebelum ni yang agak tinggi, agak very general dan sebagainya, dan cuba bawa kepada satu situasi yang lebih on the ground. Sebab strategic thinking ni perlu diterjemahkan dalam satu bentuk strategic action. Jadi saya cuba nak buat tu, hopefully berjaya lah. Cuma saya ingat sebelum tu saya nak buat satu analogy lah. Strategic planning ni selalu perkara yang kita sebut, tapi kadang-kadang dia mungkin tak difahami keseluruhannya oleh kita. So dia sebenarnya simple je. Dia pertama sekali kita kena faham why we want to do strategic planning. So the question of why is very important. And saya tanya tuan-tuan dan puan-puan lah, why are you here? Okay. Why are you here? Are you here because diarah? Atau are you here because you want to learn? Or are you here because of something else? Okay, itu hanya tuan-tuan dan puan-puan dapat sendiri berikan jawapannya. But strategic plan pun sama. Okay, before saya start, saya nak bagi analogi ni supaya kita jelas sikit. Strategic plan must start with why. Why are we doing our strategic plan? Okay. And this why boleh diterjemahkan kepada where are we going. Okay. So our vision, our goal must be clear. So hari ini tuan-tuan dan puan-puan mungkin berada di sini dan semalam with your own why. Tapi saya harap where you are going is that sekurang-kurangnya you mendapat ilmu yang bertambah, dapat appreciate, dapat concern, dapat juga khawatir. Sebab dengar daripada Datuk, daripada integriti, banyak benda yang kita khawatir sebab kadang-kadang kita terlepas pandang, terbuat tak sengaja dan sebagainya. Okay? So ini semua sebenarnya membantu kita. So all of us at the end of this day will have the destination, where are we going. So ini dalam bahasa yang selalu saya sendiri guna ialah outcome kita lah. What is the outcome? Okay. So dalam konteks strategic plan pun kita kena cakap what is the outcome that we want from this strategic plan. Okay. Not only why we are doing it, but kita perlu jelas ke mana kita nak pergi. Barulah kita tanya how we going to do it. So apa yang saya akan kongsi hari ini banyak tentang how. Okay. Bagaimana kita nak melakukan strategic planning supaya kualiti seorang pemimpin itu boleh menterjemahkan ataupun boleh digunakan untuk menggunakan pendekatan strategik. Sebab itu saya memilih topik hari ini, static or progress, the role of strategic thinking in an organisation. Okay. Tujuannya supaya kita dapat sama-sama memahami pemikiran strategik, dan yang lebih penting adalah untuk mengaplikasikannya kerana ia penting. Okay. Dan akhir sekali barulah kita tanya what is your plan. So kalau strategic planning kita start terus tanya what we want to do, ada tak kena dengan kaedah tersebut. Okay. So itulah analogi yang saya harap anda semua dapat, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, bagi Datuk semua dapat hayati daripada 2 hari ini. Sebab kita telah melalui 6 atau 5 core competency dan peluang saya hari ini adalah untuk yang ke-7. Okay. So, dia lari sikit bila tukar perspektif. Okay. Minta maaf lah, ni daripada satu format kepada satu format yang lain. Saya menyediakan presentation ini dalam perspektif middle managers. Okay. Sebab kebanyakan daripada kita sebenarnya adalah middle managers. Definitely dekan dan director adalah middle managers dalam organisation. Tapi saya sebagai Timbalan Naib Chancellor juga sebenarnya adalah middle manager. Kerana apa yang diutarakan oleh Naib Chancellor dan lembaga Governor University itu perlu diturunkan. Perlu diturunkan ke satu lagi aras, sama ada berbentuk strategi maupun berbentuk implementasi. Okay. So kita ni semua middle managers. Middle managers ni dia mempunyai banyak peranan. They can be the do and die situation. Middle managers ni dia juga mempunyai banyak anggota, talent, staff di bawah mereka yang diperlukan untuk memastikan agenda universiti berjalan. Okay. So kalau middle managers kita ni semua tak memahami agenda strategik, maka kebarangkali organisasi itu akan menjadi statik akan lebih berkemungkinan. Okay. So dalam kita nak memahami agenda universiti dan sebagainya, setiap daripada kita sebagai middle manager perlu juga ada kita punya goal kita sendiri, agenda strategik kita sendiri. Okay. So saya cuba nak bagi kefahaman kepada kita semua kepentingan mempunyai strategic thinking dan bagaimana dia akan membantu kita sebagai seorang pemimpin. Tetapi kita sebagai middle manager perlu juga tahu bagaimana nak menurunkan, how do we cascade down. Okay. How do we cascade down the strategies at the highest level through us and to cascade it down to the people that are working with us. Okay. So kalau sebagai dekan, the entire pusat pengajian kena memahami dan menerima satu penurunan strategi yang difahami supaya mereka juga akan dapat membantu kita melaksanakan apa yang perlu. Okay. So that is the second outcome yang saya harap kita dapat hari ini, is the ability to cascade down the organizational goals to the pool of talent under your supervision. Okay. So we have to be on the same page. Selalu diperkatakan clause ini, you have to be on the same page. Okay. Otherwise, kita tidak align dengan apa yang dikehendaki oleh universiti. Dan lepas tu sebagai ketua, kita perlu mengatur langkah, kita perlu mengatur strategi, kita perlu memastikan semua di bawah tanggungjawab kita tadi akan dapat melaksanakan apa yang kita perlu. So itu yang cuba saya cadangkan ataupun saya cuba kongsi dengan tuan-tuan dan puan-puan dalam konten yang berikut. Okay. So Saya tengok hari ni semalam you all semua dengar. Hari ni saya nak suruh you all buat tugasan. Keluarkan kertas sekiranya belum keluar lagi daripada semalam, dan pen. Okay. Saya nak you try to, I know some of you are experts in this. Cuba beri definisi terhadap 4 perkara ni. Sebab 4 perkara ni akan digunakan dalam saya punya presentation secara kerap. Okay. Apa yang you faham, jangan Google. Okay. Apa yang you faham, fikir. For once, let's think. Okay. Kita dah terlalu banyak cepat sangat nak Google. So let's think. What do you understand about strategic? What is tactical to you? Okay. What is operational? And what is firefighting? Okay. Tak payah 5 minit, 1 minit cukup lah. Tulis somewhere. Because I want you to reflect at the end nanti sama ada kefahaman you terhadap perkara ni masih sama atau tidak. Okay. What is strategic, what is tactical, what is operational, and what is firefighting. Okay. Kita selalu guna words ni cuma kadang-kadang dalam konteks yang berlainan. So of course there's no right answer to it. Cuma kita kena faham apa perbezaan di antara keempat-empat perkara ini. Dan sebagai seorang ketua, kita lakukan ini almost every day. Cuma kadang-kadang kita tak faham dia punya konteks, kita tak faham dia punya implikasi, dan juga sebenarnya dia memberi gambaran tentang kita punya organisasi. Okay, so I will come to that later. Okay, so keep whatever that you have written and tengok. I hope, I'm sure all of you understand apa maksudnya. Saya tak akan beri definisi, mungkin saya akan rumuskan di ujung nanti. Okay, so to start with, saya sorry aja lari semua. I hope saya punya presentation, saya bagi 2 form PDF dengan ni PowerPoint kot. Okay, why leaders need to be strategic? Okay, I think semalam Datuk VC pun dah cakap the need to change. I think semua kita faham there is this need to change. Kalau tidak, I think we can be obsolete, we can be irrelevant dan sebagainya. We also need to progress. Okay, I think we cannot be where we are. Kita perlu bergerak, especially dalam konteks USM. We lead. Okay, so I think kita perlu pastikan organisasi kita dan jabatan kita sentiasa juga melihat suatu perkara yang baru. Dan kalau tidak, ada kemungkinan kita juga menjadi irrelevant. Okay, so of course otherwise you will not get new results. So kadang-kadang kita buat benda yang sama, so result kita pun tidaklah begitu hebat. You also will not excite your team and you may lose them. Okay, maknanya kemungkinan lose them tu not necessarily they will not be with you or they will resign, but they lose the passion. You lose them because they become apathetic. Dia buat tak tahu. Dalam majlis, mereka buat kerja sendiri. Okay, yang berbincang dekan dengan exco dia. So why do you want to have a majlis when everybody is not with you? So budaya ini amat bahaya sebab your team dah tak ada interest. They are apathetic to the cause of the organisation. So kalau dia tak berminat dengan pusat pengajian punya cause atau center punya cause, definitely dia tak minat tentang agenda universiti. Okay, so losing them is the biggest sin that a leader can do, kerana you tak berjaya membawa pasukan you bersama dengan you. Okay, so that's why you need to be strategic, because you need to excite your team with something new. And human being, you get very bored easily. You get bored very easily. Yeah. So, but some of us also get into our comfort zone very easily. So, as a leader, you have to balance this delicate situation in a smart way. Okay. Firefighting alone will also make us static. Okay. So firefighting ni, okay, saya dah mula cakap lah pasal firefighting ni. Sebab saya khawatir setiap mesyuarat yang kita lakukan ni adalah lebih firefighting daripada perkara-perkara strategik. Okay. Kita nak memadam api yang dinyalakan. Maknanya ada masalah. Dan semua ni tak lari daripada operasi. So kalau kita hanya firefight dan perbincangan dalam minit hanya menceritakan firefighting issues, we definitely will not progress. Okay? And definitely kalau anda semua menghadapi masalah, kita sukar untuk hadapi, especially masalah-masalah yang belum kita hadapi, masalah-masalah yang akan datang. Okay? Sebab kita tak boleh anticipate dan kita tak boleh prepare ourselves to solve that problem. And worse is that you are not aligned to the organisation punya goals. So why change? I think ini saya ambil daripada persembahan saya sebelum ini. I think this is very easy to understand, because if you don't change, you can become irrelevant. Okay? Dan kita khawatir ada staff kita juga menjadi tak relevan kerana dia ada atau dia tak ada, kerja jalan. Okay? So dalam suasana tengah tak ada duit, kadang-kadang keadaan beginilah yang membuatkan kita rasa kita perlu ke staff ni. Okay? So mungkin situasi masa kini tidak memungkinkan kita menghentikan sesiapa dengan mudah, tetapi things have, there's a lot of change in the world, in the country in recent days. We never know, satu hari nanti mungkin kita tertekan dan terpaksa membuat keputusan-keputusan drastik yang mana mereka yang tak relevan kepada organisasi, which is norm dalam private sector, akan dihentikan. Tetapi kita kena continue with the baggage, with the excess baggage. Apabila walaupun staff kita tidak relevan, kita tidak dapat mengambil apa-apa tindakan. Okay, itu situasi kita. Tapi dalam masa hadapan kita tak tahu sama ada, kalaulah Universiti Sains Malaysia dah tak mampu, kita kena buat keputusan-keputusan yang drastik. Jadi kita tak nak sebagai seorang ketua jabatan, staf-staf di bawah kita adalah dalam kategori ini. So I think it's not only about the organisation, it's also about individu. Okay? So kita perlu memberi motivasi kepada staf kita supaya mereka perlu sentiasa kekal relevan. And kalau kita lihatlah dalam kita punya jawatan, dalam kita punya PTJ sendiri pun, berapa ramai daripada staf kita yang sebenarnya boleh dianggap sebagai tidak relevan. So dalam masa yang sama, kita perlu kehadapan, dan tujuan kita berstrategi adalah supaya kita bergerak daripada being relevant to dominant dan dominant kepada prominent. Tak apa kot kalau dia tak mengganggu tak apa. So I think Datuk pun dah cakap benda ni. I think it is something yang kita selalu buat. Kita keep repeating the same thing and hoping for a new results. So a strategic leader will make an organisation strategic and will prevent it from being static. So itu matlamat yang ingin kita cuba capai bersama. Saya pernah memberi talk ini in February di sini, dan tak silap saya in June di Kelantan. This can be also be referred to. Saya dah minta sekretariat untuk upload presentation saya ni ke dalam portal supaya dia boleh dia macam satu kesinambungan lah kepada apa yang saya ingin cakap pada hari ini. Of course, dalam konteks change management dahulunya dia lebih kepada personal, individu. Hari ini kita banyak bercakap tentang organisasi. So that is that progression from individual change, which is necessary for all of us, to how we can change an organisation. Okay, so I think this is a good progression, and saya search malam tadi, masih lagi ada dalam Pusat Transformasi punya Facebook. So tuan-tuan dan puan bolehlah kalau nak dengar. It's rather long, I think about 2.5 hours if you have the time. But I think this could be additional material yang boleh disekalikan dengan persembahan saya pada hari ini. So let me talk about appreciation of organizational goals. I think this is important. Kerana kalau kita sebagai middle managers tak faham apa yang universiti nak, macam mana kita nak gerakkan tim kita. Okay? So working for the organisation, and in private sector, if you are not aligned with the organizational goals, then you have no business to be in that company. Okay? Tapi in university, we can have our freedom lah. Cuma kita ni universiti, jadi kita perlu berjaya membawa rakan-rakan kita supaya majority of them are aligned to the university goal. Okay? Kalau tidak, apa yang kita dok war-warkan sebagai visi dan misi universiti itu tidak akan tercapai. Kerana presently selalunya masih lagi the 20-80 rule prevails. Okay, 20% yang melakukan kerja 80%. Hanya 20 orang, 20% saja yang bekerja kuat. Yang lain mungkin the one that we have lost lah. Sama ada attention, commitment. They work, but maybe they work for their own self. Alright, okay, it contributes to the university's KPI. Tapi yang 20% ni akan merana, 20% ni akan sakit, 20% ni akan tak boleh sustain. Okay, so even though 20-80% rule is an accepted norm, tapi sebuah universiti ataupun sebuah organisasi yang dapat mengubah that 20-80 rule kepada yang lebih sihat, insya-Allah akan dapat bergerak dengan lebih pantas. Okay, you can imagine semua meeting yang diperlukan untuk strategik dan operasi melibatkan orang sama. And sometimes I feel that is true in USM. Sebab kita akan jumpa orang yang sama, bincang perkara yang sama, joke pun joke bangang yang sama. Dah tak tahu nak cerita apa. Jadi itu menunjukkan bahawa kita sebenarnya bekerja hanya 20% daripada universiti ini. Dan kalau itu juga berlaku di pusat pengajian tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, maknanya is true. Okay, we are not, orang kata perah, we have not perah secukup-cukupnya santan yang boleh dihasilkan daripada aset yang begitu banyak di Universiti Sains Malaysia. Okay, so kita ni dah part of USM, kita dah contribute, tapi sometimes kita tak dapat sepenuhnya daripada semua yang ada dalam Universiti Sains Malaysia. Sama juga dengan pelajar. Kita ingat pelajar ni aktif, tapi bila kajian dibuat hanya berapa persen saja sebenarnya pelajar yang involved. So the word inclusivity tidak berlaku among staff maupun pelajar. So that's why you get burnt out. Okay? So one of the reason that we have to do strategic planning is to ensure that the entire ecosystem will work for us, not 20%. Okay? So you must be in alignment and you must be able to link your team to the organizational goal. Kalau tidak, benda ni tak akan berjaya. And kita khawatir apabila budaya KPI terlalu mempengaruhi staff-staff yang lebih muda contohnya, ada kalanya we see that tendency. So we have to break that. We have to break that norm. We have to break that comfort zone mentality. Kalau tidak, kita akan menghadapi masalah, dan forever only 20% will work for the university. Okay, so let's look how strategic planning can help us to achieve this. And the organizational goal is very important for all of us to understand, and the vision and mission of Universiti Sains Malaysia represents what the organizational goal is. Okay, so semalam Datuk Nak Chancellor pun dah cerita mengenai perkara ini. Tapi sebab dia is a very busy logo, sometimes kita, oh inilah logo yang represent vision dan mission USM. Tapi we never take the time to digest and to see whether we can actually fulfill that vision and mission. Okay, so kalau tuan-tuan perempuan tak pernah lagi meneliti perkara ini, saya haraplah sebagai take home message ataupun homework, kajilah dan fahamilah. Sebab sepatutnya every aspect of our career, our life in the university must actually try to fulfill this. And we are very lucky because our vision and mission statement is very noble, is aligned with our values, and dia tidak bercanggah dengan apa-apa yang kita percayai dan anuti. But yet, still, we do not get the best out of our people. So I think this is very important. But I will not go into that because banyak lagi saya nak share. Cuma yang penting juga, kita kena always be sensitive to other things that may govern and influence kita punya organizational goal. Okay? And we have done this. Okay, apabila the blueprint was launched, we have already aligned. Okay, and selalunya kehebatan usaha-usaha lampau by our former leaders, the wisdom that they had membuatkan apa yang dia lahirkan tu, the organizational goal tu is is very relevant. Is like, you know, evergreen. Dia seperti WeLead. You know, WeLead was done many years ago. Is still very relevant. It is something that we can use. So does our vision and mission statement. Bila kita buat alignment dengan the blueprint, banyak perkara yang very aligned. So we are very lucky to be in a university yang sebenarnya organizational goal kita ni tahan zaman. Walaupun selalunya vision and mission ni dia adalah tarikh luputnya. Tak silap saya masa kita buat vision and mission ni 2020 was the year. But it looks like we can go beyond 2020. Because SDG is 2030, you know. So maknanya we are able to use our organizational goal to some value, and kalau ketua jabatan tak berjaya menurunkan ini kepada staff you, maka rugilah kita. Okay. Tetapi in addition to that, I think we have seen this, kita ada banyak lagi perkara-perkara yang kita kena align organizational goal kita. Okay. So semalam kita dah cakap mengenai industri 4.0. I think ramai orang cakap mengenai industri 4.0. Kita dah cakap tentang blueprint. Kita juga kena be sensitive to the global challenges, global mega trends. There's a lot that is going to influence university dan cara kita menyelidik, cara kita mengajar. Kita juga must be ready for the 21st century skills or attributes, which is going to be translated into our 21st century learners yang kita akan nurture sebagai mereka yang berada di universiti. So all this and notwithstanding the fact that SDG is very near to us. So semua ni tuan-tuan membuat kita kena faham, and university is actually reacting. Kita tak boleh tukar vision dan mission kita selalu sentiasa, tetapi kita perlu ada that alignment. And I'm happy to see that we are okay as far as our organizational goal is concerned. Tapi all of us must understand that this alignment need to be done. Okay? So lepas kita dah faham mengenai organizational goal, barulah kita boleh turunkan kepada kita punya staff. Okay? Kalau kita sendiri tak faham, kita tak akan mampu untuk turun. Remember, the attribute that we need as a strategic thinker is the ability to cascade down the organizational goals to be translated into our own departmental goals supaya semua di bawah kita akan dapat membantu mencapai hasrat itu. So, bila kita dah buat ni, you need to link this. Okay? Organizational goals saya dah terangkan. You need to link this kepada your domain of responsibility. Each one of us will have our own goal. Each one of us, our PTJ have our own strength, has our own weaknesses, has our own history, has our own culture, has our own niche. Okay? Semua ni perlu dirangkumi dalam satu organization goal yang saya letakkan sebagai the roof of the framework. Okay? Because this is where it covers you. It covers you totally, that you perlu bekerja di bawah ruang lingkup tersebut. Tetapi kadang-kala kita gagal untuk menyambungkan the organizational goal dengan the domain of your responsibility. Okay? Kita tak tahu why are we here? Okay? Why is the role of the pusat pengajian? Kita tak jelas. Center yang ditubuhkan mungkin dah melalui proses evolusi. Tidak, you pun tak tahu why was it actually created. Okay, so I think this is a very important link that middle managers like all of us must understand to do, and must be able to use your strategic thinking attribute to be able to come up with plans that can link all this. Okay, so saya akan cuba bawa tuan-tuan dan puan dalam pendekatan ini, insyaAllah. So saya selalu berfikir bahawa before we are given any responsibility, it is good to have some time before to prepare. Okay, and I'm glad pengurusan tertinggi universiti akan insya-Allah membuat pengumuman pelantikan sebulan sebelum tuan-tuan dan puan masuk pejabat. Okay. I had that privilege almost 2 months before I went into office of the NCAA my name was announced. So I had that privilege, and I value that time. But not all of us have that. Okay, especially in the past. Malam besoknya 1 hari bulan Januari, tak ada fax, tak masuk. Dulu zaman fax lah. Dah masuk fax, tak masuk fax. Okay, but now we are trying to change that. And thank you to top management, we agree that we should start awal. Sebab itu kalau tuan-tuan perempuan, kita 6 bulan sebelum tarikh kita dah jalankan proses dan membolehkan kita menjalankan program ini. Okay? So this 100 days before, kalaulah kita dapat that privilege, should be used wisely. Okay? This is your time to prepare yourself, okay, for what to come. And you need to link your domain of responsibility to the organizational goal. And in order to do that, you need to understand your domain of responsibility. Sama ada tanggungjawab baru di tempat baru ataupun di pusat pengajian sendiri. So because perspektif sudah berbeza. Dahulunya anda hanyalah seorang ahli majlis dan pensyarah atau staf di pusat pengajian. Tetapi anda mungkin akan menjadi seorang dekan yang definitely bila anda mendapat tanggungjawab sebagai seorang pemimpin, perspektif berbeza. So you need to understand your school and center. And selalunya kita lupa the original mandate. Doesn't mean that the original mandate cannot change, tapi kadang-kadang the original mandate was given with a purpose and intent. And if that mandate is not being served, maka lomponglah banyak perkara tentang universiti, especially if you are a service center where your role is the only role for that purpose. And sometimes kita sebagai ketua dan pasukan kita tak memahami kenapa unit itu ataupun PTJ itu ditubuhkan. So always go back, and we again at USM, we learn from our previous faults. Kita telah membetulkan ini. Okay, semua jabatan telah ada surat beranak yang telah diputihkan. Baik, janganlah bila kita dilantik sebagai ketua nanti kita lupa tentang surat beranak ni. Again, doesn't mean that kita cannot change the surat beranak, tapi kita kena take note of why we were born, why we were there. Okay? Sebab apa history yang telah kita lalui dalam pusat itu, dalam pusat pengajian itu, sebenarnya telah membawa you kepada satu tahap yang mana you can go forward. Cuma kadang-kadang kita terlupa. Okay? So I letakkan bold sebab I think you need to know the roots, your roots. Okay? But then within this 100 days is the time for you to do your assessment. Okay? This is establishment of the baseline for you for the next 3 years. You need to do this. You tak masuk lagi strategic plan. You need to know your baseline. Okay? And you have these 100 days, you are able to, of course, you have your own perception, positive or negative. Kadang-kadang kita ni negatif. Of course, kita ni suka berpandangan negatif terhadap kepimpinan pusat pengajian sentiasa. Tapi now you are doing it. So you have your own perception. Takut perception you itu juga tak tepat sepenuhnya ataupun skewed. Okay, sometimes we have a tunnel vision. When we want to uphold certain principle, contohnya you hanya tengok your views, but as a leader you cannot see one view. You have to be multifaceted. So you kena juga guna evidence base, fakta. Di sini where data will become very important. And I think there's a lot of frustration when you want to go and spend this valuable 100 days and you cannot get information because data is not available. Okay, so that's why I think, especially in the current climate of data analytics, you know, we have no excuse for not having data. It's the will of the people that is the problem. So this is where, kalau kita ada evidence base, ada fakta, you can learn a lot about the organisation that you're going to lead. Tetapi ingat, statistic can also lie. Statistic can also be misinterpreted. Okay, that's why you also need to get others' perception and views. Okay, so I think this is very important. This is a triangulation that you have to do before you get into office, because
Kalau you datang dengan satu pandangan yang clouded by yourself ataupun by penasihat-penasihat yang ramai, kadang-kadang you don't get the straight facts. And kadang-kadang you buat decision yang membuatkan keadaan lebih parah. Okay, so I think this is a reminder for all of us. Prepare yourself well, get to know the information, be informed, do as much as possible a very wise assessment of the organization that you are going to lead. Okay? And you must start thinking, how do you link this PTJ to the organizational goal? This is what tactical means. Okay? You have a strategy at university level, and then you have to understand how to link it to your organization with the culture, with the prevailing strengths and weaknesses, with whatever you inherit, bad or good. These are all going to be part of the puzzle that you have to link. Okay, 100 days is something that you hope to have whenever you are given a new responsibility. So dalam 100 hari ni, okay, bayanglah ni dah the clock is ticking. What is your early or current feeling of your organisation? Sebab kita cakap tadi, kita kena bawa perubahan. When we come to an organisation, there must be differences. Dia tak boleh static. Okay? There must be progress. So in your mind, you must already have a picture of what you need to do. Okay? You may be blessed to continue the leadership that has brought that PTJ to such a height that you only need incremental improvement. Walaupun sebenarnya itu perception, okay? Because when you have strength, kalau you incrementally improve, rugi lah. Tapi kadang-kadang dah burn out, okay? That PTJ dah sampai capacity. Sebab tu kita kena tengok semua aspek. You know, because when it's burnout, that 20% doing the 80% job, no doubt they're number 1 or number 2 in the university, but everybody is burnout because the remaining 80% apathetic to the school's agenda. So I think as a leader you have to balance this out. So sebab tu saya guna incremental supaya you faham bahawa there are things that needs to be tweaked. Okay, there are things that needs to be improved. But you are lucky because there's no big issues that you have to deal with. Okay, so that incremental is one way. Okay, but it's also easy for you to get into your comfort zone. It's also easy for your team to get into the comfort zone. And the danger of being in comfort zone ialah you tak sedar bahawa people are, people are moving, overtaking you left and right. Kita tak perasan because we are in our comfort zone. And that has happened to our organisation, that has happened to our nation, that has happened to many of us. Sometimes kita tak perasan. Okay? If on a second note, maknanya on a higher level, you may also feel that I punya PTJ ni is really behind. Okay, I need to catch up. And that's where a transformational change is needed. So you need results within a very short time. And you may need new enforcement. Okay? You may need new people that can actually help you. You may need a new team of administration. You may need to refresh your governance sometimes. The way you do things has been there for many years, may not be relevant anymore. So you need to start thinking. Ini belum masuk office lagi ni. Belum masuk office lagi. Okay? Sebab you do not have much time because walaupun it's transformational, the expectation, you need to buy time, tapi your boss will not have, long waiting time lah. Selalunya because nanti KPI main, nanti macam-macam lah, SKT main. So you need to also be quick. Okay, and this is where I hope from my presentation we can help you to think that way. Okay. And finally, kadang-kadang memang you ni dihantar ke satu tempat yang sudah parah, so you need to overhaul things. Good luck, not easy. You may need extra strength and doa, but you are in the position to transform, really to turn around this organization. And if you do that successfully, okay, not only that you'll be satisfied, okay, you will actually prove that you have been given the difficult task and you are able to turn things around. So ini adalah 3 situasi yang saya rasa kalau tuan-tuan dan puan dapat start your office with, your time with this understanding and appreciation, you are ready from day one. Okay, you are ready from day one. And this is a privilege, and we hope we can give that privilege to all of you that are going to be appointed as deans or directors. So quickly again, ni work in progress. Ni sendiri-sendiri, jangan cerita ke orang. What are your own thoughts about your organisation? Okay, incremental, transformational, overhaul. 1 minit, fikir-fikir. Of course you tak ada data, tapi these are all from perception. And I hope if you become a dean one day, you can use this as your starting point. Silakan. What is your current feeling about the department school center that you are going to lead? Does it require incremental change, transformational change, or it requires an overhaul? Kalau overhaul, beritahu saya dan Datuk VC. Anonymously. Okay, let's move on. Okay, time is not on our side. Banyak gini. So, I would like to spend one slide to re-emphasize the importance of staying informed. Okay, evidence-based approach is very important because kadang-kadang kita membuat keputusan hanya tanpa panduan yang konkret. And when we make decisions, sometimes we also bring along a lot of resources. Time, money, people, and sometimes if we are being misled, we are not even firefighting. Okay, we are actually doing other things that are not beneficial. So we started out by having some feelings. So you need to confirm and verify that initial feelings. And of course you will not have a totally concrete answer. Things changes, sometimes evidence changes, but I think budaya data ni is very important. I think we at USM we still have a lot of problem with this. Okay, budayanya tak turun sampai ke semua level. And again, year after year kita duk tanya benda yang sama. Okay, so I think it's not only about availability of data, but how we manage data and how we have access to data. In my area of work, I usually use the word enabling data. Sebab kalau data ada banyak pun, kalau it doesn't enable, tak guna agak. So this is where you need to establish your baseline, because that is your starting point. Because knowing your starting point, then you can actually anticipate your end point. Remember, number 2, where you want to go is important. So you need to establish your baseline first, so that you will be able to gauge how much work you need to do within the next 3 years, for example, to achieve a milestone. Okay, you will not be achieving the entire requirement, tapi at least a milestone that you have prescribed as part of your strategic plan. Your true north, I think this is also important. Where do you want to go? And we need not be the same. All of us will not be the same. Universiti Sains Malaysia memerlukan kepelbagaian daripada kita semua. And every one of us has our strengths and weaknesses. And collectively we can bring USM to a different level. So I think this is your own true north. Kat mana you nak bawa school you? School you strong in publication? Okay. School you strong in services? Okay. But you need to know. And it's not fair to be asking everybody to have the same mold. It will be a very boring university. Okay. Sekarang ni Universiti Sains Malaysia, in our business wisdom, we are combining arts and science. That's why we see there's a lot of good, orang kata, mixture of wisdoms. The left brain and the right brain are mixed, and then we get the best. Even though we are not doing enough. Okay, we have to do more than that. So I think your true north is something that you have to determine. And again, official means, informal, I think this is very important. Because stakeholders engagement, kita jarang buat. Okay, all levels of team members, kalau kita hanya berbincang dengan kita punya exco saja, it will not give us the true feeling of things. So I think we need to understand this. Basically, other people's view is very important. So please do not undermine the importance of staying informed, evidence-based approach. So now, let's get into the first 100 days. So tadi tuan-tuan dan puan, kita dah be prepared. Okay, kita dah ada some linkages antara organizational goals dengan you punya own domain. And when you get into office, of course you are now the boss. So this is also time for you to reaffirm the early or the 100 days before punya instinct or you punya pandangan dan sebagainya. You need to know the people, especially if it's a new place. Okay. Getting to know the governance is very important because you are going to work within that governance. Tak urus. Itulah yang akan menentukan you ni efisien ataupun tidak. Okay. Adakah dia memberi roadblock ataupun dia memudah cara. So you need to understand the governance. And a lot of us are guilty of putting governance aside. Okay. And we don't challenge the governance sometimes. So kita buat je apa orang dah buat. So sometimes, you know, that can also deter and that can also hamper your progress. You need to also know the enablers, system as well as human being. Some of the human being are enablers that you can really use. Okay, ataupun unearth their potential. Mungkin dia tidak ada peluang. So this is the time for you to know them. Getting to know the culture, this is very important. And I think we acknowledge that setiap PTJ di University Sains Malaysia ini ada culture sendiri. Dan kalau kita tidak mengambil kira budaya yang ada, kadang-kadang dia bertembung. Bertembung, dan apabila kita nak melaksanakan pelan strategi kita dan nak melaksanakan sesuatu yang baru, kita akan menghadapi masalah. Dan bila kita menghadapi masalah, kita cepat give up. Okay, so bila kita cepat give up, kalau kita sebagai pemimpin cepat give up, maka tak ke manalah organisasi kita. So I think we need to acknowledge the culture, not just to acknowledge but also to find ways on how to find the soft spots, to find the ways that we can convince and change any negative culture to a positive culture, and how to further enhance the positive culture so that it can benefit all of us. So ini perkara yang sewajarnya kita buat as we come into office, and this is part of strategic plan bagi saya. Okay, bukan kita kena pergi bengkel mana-mana baru nak fikir. No, this is part of your strategic plan. You must be already thinking about what you need first day in office. Okay. So how do you prepare a plan for your organisation very early in your term? Because remember, kita selalu ada 3 tahun je. Okay, 3 tahun ni sekelip mata je hilang, habis. And sometimes memang tak sempat. So kalau you require 6 months to know things dan sebagainya, by the time you get to your end of first term, you are not able to produce the desired results. Okay, so how do you do this? Okay, so some tips. If you had done a thorough preparation for the 100 days or any pre-days that you had, kita cuba bagi you at least sebulan, 30 hari. Tapi dah boleh fikir sekarang lah. So you already know the type of leadership that is needed. Okay. And you also should have identified where you want to bring the true north. Okay. Where do you want to bring the department to? What is your milestone? Okay. I have 3 years. Where do I want to bring? You cannot be solving everything about the school. Okay. So you must know kat mana yang you boleh capai. You have to be practical and pragmatic about what you can achieve. And notwithstanding that there are going to be a lot of challenges yang you tahu dan yang you tak tahu. Okay. So you need to identify your immediate management team. Ini normal, ini rutin. Tetapi sometimes kita tak ada masa untuk fikir. Sebab bila VC lantik kita je, within 3 days nak suruh bagi nama timbalan dekan. Okay, kita pun dengan terperanjatnya, dengan nak pindahnya, kita pun tak sempat nak fikir. Okay. So this is why again that 100 days or pre-days is very, very advantageous, so that you can also think about your team. Okay, you are privileged as middle manager, as dean and director, because Universiti Sains Malaysia telah mengamalkan selama ini you yang pilih your team. But that is not the same for Naib Chancellor contohnya. Okay, Naib Chancellor tidak boleh memilih secara total timnya. Okay, seperti Perdana Menteri boleh memilih dia punya kabinet. So I think this is something that is necessary. So sekurang-kurangnya di peringkat PTJ, tuan-tuan dan puan diberi kebebasan untuk memilih pasukan anda. Tetapi again, janganlah masuk your own comfort zone. Kadang-kadang kita lihat you are comfortable with a group of people, you also appoint the same group of people with the same thinking, same wavelength, and sometimes just yes person. So you will not get the check and balance. Okay? So I think this is very important. You have to identify your team that complements each other, especially yourself. Okay? Sebab kalau kita tak cari pasukan kita yang boleh complement kita, then kita takut kita berada dalam satu our own self-disguise lah. We are saying that everything is okay, tapi sebenarnya it's just that because you are of the same. Okay, diversity. Datuk Naib Chancellor cakap tentang diversity. This is the first challenge. How brave are you to be diversified so that check and balance happen in the top management of the school? And that has a lot to be determined by yourself, because you are going to select your team. So complementing each other is very important, because all of us have our strengths and weaknesses. Remember, this is already strategic plan. Because kalau you don't have your best team, you will never go far. Okay? Tapi you kena get the buy-in jugalah. Kalau your team tu yang you pilih tu pun tak boleh agree to agree, susah jugalah. This is where you have to make your selection. Okay, they can be a check and balance, they can argue, but at the end of the day, consensus are being met, agree to agree, and stand by it. That's very important. Kalau tidak, huru-hara. Okay, huru-hara. Dalam cakap lain, luar cakap lain. So these are the things yang kita mungkin nanti akan bincang dengan lebih panjang dalam program-program akan datang, yang tak sempat saya nak share hari inilah. Okay, two things yang saya akan dwell for the remaining of my talk is the identification of pillars for your PTJ. Okay, and at the same time, do not forget there are three foundations that cannot be ignored. Okay, which is talent, which is resources, and governance. Benda ni tak akan lari. That's why they are called foundation. Pillars can change, but you need to know by now what are your pillars. What will help you to achieve the goal? These are the pillars. Foundation tak boleh lari. The biggest mistake is when a dean or a pengarah ignores these three foundations. It brings a lot of problem. Okay? So let's move on. Saya suka rumah sebab I'm a civil engineer. Okay, of course lah, bangunan, stability. Tapi kita dalam hidup kita pun, you know, rumahku, syurgaku. So I feel that, you know, rumah ni, siapa yang pernah bekerja dengan saya, selalulah saya guna a very simple strategic framework. Ramai orang guna macam-macam kompleks. Tapi I will go with the house. I'm still happy with the house. I can call this the house of our school. And that coziness, that homely, apa orang kata, perasaan warga dan keluarga itu senang untuk dipupuk. So goals and targets are always at the roof because dia encompass kita. Kita juga ada pillars yang kita perlu tentukan. Okay. Dan pillars ni must reflect the trust areas that would best help you achieve your departmental goals and the organizational goals. Okay. Ini hanya satu cadangan, you don't have to use this. Saya pernah bertugas dalam satu organisasi, dia bermula dengan rumah, kemudian sebab dia transport, dia nak tukar pada train. Lalu dia tukar balik kepada rumah. Sebab bila train bergerak, bergegar semua, tak jadi. So dia patah balik kepada rumah. That was a real story. So that's why I believe the house is just a nice representation of a lot of things. But pillar ni pun dalam Islam pun kita diajar, kita ada 5 pillars of Islam, and kalau kita tak buat satu akan sengit. So it gives all that analogy yang kita faham. So which also means dalam organisasi bila kita pilih 5 pilar ni is the strength of the organisation, is the strength of the PTJ. And you have to balance. I believe in a balanced approach. So it has to be balanced. If it is a pillar, it has to be given equal attention, equal standing, equal recognition. Okay? And to me, I believe that will give more room for you to improve, rather than you put everything in one basket. But you will have strength here and there. Okay? And of course, your 3 pillars are very important. These are the foundation. Without foundation, you will not be able to sustain. Okay? Macam hantu kat 5, siapa dah tengok hantu kat 5 kan? Dia tergantung kan. Baru ni saya dengar interview yang berlakon jadi hantu kat 5 tu kata, oh kali ni sakit lah, dia banyak sangat tergantung. Berbanding dengan cerita yang lalu, dia tak tergantung. Ini dia banyak tergantung. So bila bergantung, hantu kat 5 pun tak boleh tahan lama-lama. So, samalah tuan-tuan membuat organisasi kita. Okay? You will not be able to sustain kalau your foundation is not strong. And kita sudah melihat perkara ini di peringkat universiti pun. So I think this is important. So cuma saya nak tekankan sedikit. Contohnya ini saya dah mula mengisi beberapa perkara. Satu, goals and targets. I think I like to use not only measurable but also identifiable. Kerana kalau kita measure, kita terbawa-bawa kepada tangibles, KPIs. It's important, but sometimes kita forget about the intangibles. The intangibles are the values that we has really helped the organization. So we need to identify such targets. It may not be able to be objectively determined or calculate, but at least we recognize. We can identify that this is a goal that we want to achieve. Pillar, I think for many of us, the 3 pillars are important: academic, research and innovation, and services. Ini tak lari daripada almost semua PTJ. Mungkin ada sedikit PTJ yang lebih pada satu daripada yang lain. And you can add on your own pillars. What you feel you need to add. Di sini mungkin you dah perlu, this is your first 100 days, you dah perlu dapatkan pandangan daripada keseluruhan tim. This is the time that you firm up your strategic house. Because sometimes you tak perasan pun that there's something that you can actually nurture further. Okay? I put enabling data. Some strategic framework puts data as one pillar. Okay? Tapi saya rasa in our current climate, enabling data is now a foundation. Okay, but you may choose to differ. But sebab kalau tak ada data, I think we are not being guided. Okay, we do not know where we stand. So we are very vulnerable. Okay, so I like to put enabling data as strategy, as a foundation. And if you can see clearly, I put outcomes in all of the boxes because I believe in an outcome-based approach. Okay, and I will tell you why this is important. So as I said, sorry again for the lari sikit ni from my presentation ni. As much that we know OBE requires constructive alignment, strategic planning pun require constructive alignment. Okay. Dan saya menggunakan outcome sebagai kesinambungan antara setiap aspek. Okay. So goal and target ni tuan-tuan dan puan, you will define the goal and target. You need indicators, okay, to tell you that you are achieving, you are nearing, or you are still far from achieving your target. Okay. Perhaps a self-criticism of Apex is that we are not able to do that as well as we wish. Okay. It is very abstract and sebagainya. But it has its own benefit juga because kita boleh, sebab tu you need to identify it. You may not necessarily able to measure it. Tapi di peringkat pusat pengajian, kalau boleh you have this measure, and please do not have only one measure. Janganlah hanya gunakan MyRA sahaja sebagai UP measure. Okay, because it's very dangerous to put everything onto one goal. There's a lot of other goals that you can achieve that can help the vision and the mission of the university. So you need to decide what is your goal and target. And for each of the pillar that you have selected, so these pillar are important trust areas that you believe will help you achieve the goal. You must identify the outcomes, or you must articulate or tell or write what are the outcomes that you want from each pillar. Okay, and this outcome must bring you to the goal that you aspire. So inilah constructive alignment. Sebab kadang-kadang kita duk buat, kita tak nampak apa benda ni bawa kita kepada kita punya organizational goal. So that alignment is for you to determine and for you to decide. Should the choice of the outcome must be carefully chosen, so that when lepas outcome under the academic box are the interventions, are the activities, are the projects. And each of that activity, project, intervention ada output dia. And the output must be aligned to the pillars outcome. That's what I mean by constructive alignment. So sometimes kita buat strategic plan, kita tak buat that alignment. So maknanya kita shooting in on all directions. And sometimes it's tiring, it's using a lot of resources, and we are nowhere to the target that we have set. So I think this is very important. That's why it's called a framework, and constructive alignment is important when you do this. And you have to test your strategic plan, ada ke tidak elemen constructive alignment ni. Kalau tak ada, maknanya you have not chosen the right outcomes, or you have not chosen the right pillars, or you have not chosen the right activities that will give you the desired output that will be aligned to the outcome. And this is where you can decide whether the activity that is being suggested by your school is a must-have, is a good to have, or is a no-no, waste of time. And this is part of constructive alignment. So I will not talk about what project, what intervention, because that is too prescriptive. And I do hope that you allow the leeway, okay, for your own team to come up with creative ideas of projects, interventions, activities that can help you to achieve the outcomes. Kalau daripada mula kita dah prescribe, you must do this, sometimes you also stifle creativity among your team. And you do not want to do that. So the principle of outcome based is you concentrate on outcomes that are aligned to the achievement of your target, but allow flexibility for your team, and your team are a great team, they are intelligent team, they are all researchers and PhD holders, they are able to come up with new ideas. The more you give them room to be creative, the more flourishing, the more flourishing your organization will be, provided they are aligned. Kalau tidak, letih. We might go in circle, but we are not progressing. Okay, so this is again how you convert you punya intervention into SKT tahunan. So ramai daripada kita leave it to the lecturer, okay, leave it to the staff to decide your SKT. Okay? It should not be. It should be mutually determined. Sasaran kerja tahunan untuk jabatan yang akan dilaksanakan oleh staff. So that alignment tak berlaku. Sebab tu kita rasa sibuk, semua orang sibuk, tapi tak membantu universiti. So I think this is very important for us to understand. This is the essence of strategic thinking. Okay? So saya harap you dah nampak macam mana saya cascade down daripada organizational goals to a strategic framework that within that ada outcome, ada pillars, ada foundation dan outcome-nya, dan dalam-dalam tu adalah semua aktiviti yang you actually isi dalam SKT. So kalaulah mulai hari ini semua kita dapat tunjukkan kita punya laporan penilaian prestasi tahunan dengan that constructive alignment, senang orang nak menilai, yes, this organisation, this PTJ memang membantu mencapai agenda universiti, dan kita boleh cakap satu apa yang dia cuba capai. So that is how strategic framework will help, insyaAllah, dalam keperluan ini. So after your first 100 days, kita ni dalam satu timeline lah, you definitely need to present your strategic plan. Selalunya 100 days ni is a first milestone. So kalau within that 100 days you tak dapat present your strategic plan, imagine you will not have time. Tapi of course kalau you inherit an organisation that need to be overhauled, you may need more than that. You may have a preliminary strategic plan. Okay? But kalau you dah okay, you dah tahu dan it's quite, you can do it within that 100 days. So don't waste time, because this is your plan. Because after plan you have to deliver. That is more tough. Okay? Get feedback and be ready for adjustment. Janganlah inilah dia satu-satunya, inilah dia muktamad. No, I think we need to get, because you are with the team that can contribute, can give values. So walaupun dah ada strategic plan, sometimes you need to present to your boss. Top management may have their views as well. Okay, kalau you tak buat lagi stakeholder engagement, you hanya buat sama you, then this is the time for you to get your stakeholder engagement. Okay, so be ready for adjustment. Now you have to translate that. Once it's firm, you translate that into an implementation plan, an action plan. So saya dah bagi contoh tadi lah, maknanya translate it into SKT dan sebagainya. Of course you can do a proper strategic plan, tapi sometimes kita ni terlalu terbawa-bawa kepada dokumentasi, akhirnya siap dokumentasi cantik, laksana pun dah. Okay, so bagi saya, while you are preparing for the documentation for archiving and recording and referencing, start work, do pilot. Okay, so that you can already show and you can already test and you can already know. You can already do continual quality improvement. Okay? Translate the strategic plan into an implementation plan. Each outcome must have interventions. Okay? Setiap outcome kena ada banyak intervention. But you don't have to be prescriptive. Okay? You just align. Build them on an annual SKT, saya dah cakap. Ensure that they produce results. Because once you dah jaga constructive alignment from design, once the team or the person produces and provide you with the output, insyaAllah benda tu automatically align. This is what we want. Okay? Make your routine activities to be the most efficient. Okay? Bagi saya lah, bila intervention ni, sepatutnya you create projects. Sebab bila kita nilai, especially staff-staff sokongan, staff-staff pelaksana, saya kesian tengok dia punya SKT. They keep repeating the same thing because they keep doing routine things. Kita kena bagi dia project, because project ni ada start and end, ada that sense of satisfaction. Kalau dia buat rutin, dia balik tiap-tiap hari kerja dia tak habis. So kesian staff kita yang buat kerja rutin. I know some of us have lots of routine work to do. Make them more efficient so that they have time to do projects. The two must go together. Tapi kalau tak ada project, kalau you tengok staff you tak ada project dalam setahun, they get bored easily. I will. So I think we need to ensure intervention projects are there. You can help to create them. They can come up with your own projects. You create camaraderie, you create teamwork, you create togetherness, you prevent apathy in your school, because that's where they work together. Sekarang ni saya risau kebanyakan staff akademik kita masuk bilik dia, buat kerja dia, because kita tidak ada projek. But when you do a conference, you can see how the entire ecosystem bergerak bersama. Tapi kadang-kadang dia masuk silo, rancangan tu buat, tak campur rancangan lain. This is an opportunity for us to get people together, because the organisation of the conference brings a lot of values, a lot of interpersonal skills, okay, for all of us. But then you go into your silo. Itu sedih. So I think this is how you actually craft your interventions and project so that you get the best out of your team. And dalam masa yang sama, bila orang sibuk, routine activity dia kena jadi more efficient. This is pentadbir punya realm. You need to improve the efficiency so that you get more done with less, kalau boleh. Within the time, within the same time limit, you produce more. That's what efficiency is all about. Okay? And kalau you tak monitor, kacau lah, because people will just come in, clock out, balik, kerja bertimbun, tak bergerak. And if operation is not smooth, it will hamper the progress of the entire university, because dalam dunia university banyak operasi, especially academic. So I think this is where you need to also lubricate your team so that they can be more effective, more efficient, so that they have time for other things. Saya risau majoriti pada staff kita tidak ada buat kerja-kerja berbentuk projek, especially kumpulan pelaksana. Okay? Reduce your firefighting episodes. Okay? The first signal that you are doing the right things is when firefighting have been reduced, provided apathy has not set in. Because kadang-kadang you are being misled. Oh, tak ada apa, no complaint. Sebenarnya apathetic. Majlis tak ada siapa cakap, dekan je cakap seorang. That means, you know, nobody is going to bother to check and balance you and correct you, and you know. So you need to know how to balance this. Terlalu banyak firefighting, you are tired. You use your resources and you have no time, no will, no energy to be strategic. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is essential. You have to balance between the three domains of strategic, tactical, operational, and firefighting. Okay. Some mistakes middle managers do, concentrating only on the pillars and ignoring the foundation. Saya tahu ada beberapa dekan yang tak minat hal-hal HR, tak minat hal-hal duit, padahal we are responsible. You are going to be tasked and asked, and if there's anything wrong, you are accountable. So foundation is something that you have to pay attention to, not only pillars. I know pillar are the glamorous part of your work, especially if you are the great ones. Tapi remember, it will not be sustainable kalau you tak jaga you punya foundation. Don't forget that again, there are both measurables and identifiers per outcome. Be fair. Okay, you need both. Kalau semua objective KPI, you will have a problem. Okay. Reluctance to make adjustment to the strategic plan. Ini pun, we need to know when we want to change. Kalau the signs are strong that our strategic plan is not accurate, well, you can always change it, improve it. Inability to cascade down annual or interim organizational plan. I will go into this sekejap lagi. Not taking a balanced approach. Okay, this is my belief. Okay, from my own experience, I prefer a balanced approach. It's safer. Okay, not taking into account the prevailing culture. This is what I've already told you. And bigger setback, oblivious to the needs of the organization and still thinking about her, him, or themselves. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as a leader, it's all about others. Okay, Rasulullah SAW fikir pasal umatku. Okay, so a leader must also think about others. Tapi janganlah deprive your own self totally. Okay, kita ni manusia juga. Cuma it's about the organization. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me go to the annual adjustment. Tadi saya cakap as you masuk into office, first 100 days. Okay, you dah buat. Sampai amanat naik chancellor, datang benda baru. Okay, datang benda baru. Biasalah kan. So, number one, organization may come up with new ideas, new statements. And that happens every year. And we are blessed that often enough, they are not major adjustments. They are tweakings that needs to be done so that we continue to be aligned. Because things are changing around us. Kalau kita tak sedar perubahan berlaku di sekeliling kita, the whole organisation can collapse. So apa yang selalu diberi oleh Naib Chancellor dalam amanat tahunan itu, ada keperluannya dan ada juga kepentingannya untuk kita faham, okay, dan kita perlu turunkan kepada tim kita. So this is the cascading effect that needs to be done. Saya bagi contoh 2018. Okay. 2018, Naib Chancellor meletakkan USM as a preferred university by design. Dan kalau kita kaji, dia tidak lari daripada apa yang kita nak. we need to become the preferred university kerana kita memang sudah preferred university as an Apex. Tapi kalau kita tak continue to work on it, orang lain dah ikut agenda Apex kita ke belakang. So we need to continue lead, and Naib Chancellor menggunakan preferred university as dia punya coin and by design. I think that those are the two words. So saya sebagai TNCA, saya perlu turunkan, I'm also a middle manager in this context. Because kalau saya tak turunkan kepada semua, agenda akademik tidak akan melihatkan that preferred punya nature, attribute. Okay? So the USM as the preferred university by design, of course, for my portfolio, saya menggunakan the preferred academic programs, because that's how academic is all about. All our academic programs must be the preferred one. Kalau tidak, kita tidak ada student. Kalau tidak, program kita boleh close, dan akhirnya our relevance boleh dipersoal. So of course I came up with this structure which I can elaborate further. Tapi yang penting, perkara ini diturunkan kepada dekan-dekan, dan dekan-dekan bolehlah buat seperti apa yang gambar rajah ini cuba tunjukkan. Bagaimana you cascade down to your school. Sebab itu, seboleh mungkin apabila Naib Chancellor memberikan amanat, kemudian the middle managers must also give your own amanat di peringkat PTJ masing-masing, supaya everybody is clear. And selalunya memanglah susah nak buat sasaran awal tahun. Kita buat sasaran pertengahan tahun yang sudah mencerminkan the penurunan daripada apa yang kita nak buat untuk tahun itu, di samping untuk keseluruhan agenda universiti. Okay? So kalau kita daripada mula dah buat constructive alignment, penurunan ini tak sukar. Okay? Macam contohnya, saya hanya letak satu kotak je, the preferred academic program. Sebelum ni kita tak berbincang tentang the preferred punya term, tapi sebenarnya the framework has already been there. You know? So that's why the first 100 days is very critical for you to create a very aligned structure, strategic plan, supaya any amendments that need to be done will not be major. Okay? But if you have to do a major one, well, unfortunately we have to do that. Tapi kalau semua-semuanya buat strategic plan, bila nak buat kerja? You know, I think this is the mistake. And kalau boleh, strategic plan kita ni cuts across many generations lah. Sebab itu kalau berubah sentiasa, we get everybody confused. So I think we need to find that state of stability, so that kita punya vision and mission statement tu, alhamdulillah, as I said, is very relevant, and it is now relevant with SDG and so on. Tapi how we cascade down to our team, supaya whoever becomes a dean, they can actually continue the substance of the strategic framework. That's why the beginning point is rather critical. But I just would like to share, before I came to this final diagram, which was actually created 31st May 2018, I went through several steps. Okay? So ini perubahan-perubahan yang dilakukan daripada Mac 2017 kepada Oktober 2017 dan akhirnya 31 Mei, dan sekarang ni saya rasa agak comfortable dengan 31 Mei punya version yang saya yakin akan boleh digunakan sebagai the framework that I would like all deans especially to follow as far as academic direction is concerned. Okay, so we had to go through, of course not alone, we had so many bengkel. We are rather comfortable now that this represents the best representation of a strategic plan for academic agenda di university, yang menekankan to make our programs the preferred academic programs, yang mempelbagaikan kita punya student profile. Dulunya kita hanya ada dua, kita ada pelajar-pelajar tahun semasa dan kita ada pelajar jarak jauh. Sekarang ni kita tak boleh hidup dengan ini, sebab kita tahu kepentingan pelajar. Kita kena pelbagaikan kita punya pelajar, and this is why kita create flexible education, supaya kita kena kembangkan bukan sahaja pelajar-pelajar yang tidak bekerja, pelajar-pelajar yang bekerja, pelajar-pelajar dalam negara, pelajar-pelajar yang tidak ada di dalam kampus kita. Okay? So that's why we coin the conventional and non-conventional student. Dan saya harap dekan-dekan dah banyak kali dengar, inilah perkara yang perlu kita lakukan supaya semua program kita mendapat menjadi rujukan dan menjadi diminati dan mereka ingin datang dan sebagainya. Dan of course both undergraduate dan postgraduate. I will not have time to go through detail. Saya juga sedang Naib Chancellor dah almost habis roadshow. Saya akan susuli untuk datang ke pusat-pusat pengajian untuk saya share perkara ini supaya semua orang faham. We need now the buying in because this is an implementation stage. So pejabat saya bersama dengan BPA dan rakan-rakan sedang mengatur satu implementation plan sekarang ini untuk memastikan hasrat yang dinyatakan di dalam strategic plan ini akan dicapai insya-Allah. So persoalannya, definitely for the new deans that are going to come into office, new deans mean for the new term will be the same dean. This will be our attention for the next few years, insyaAllah. So do not ignore your foundation. My last part of the, I'm just would like to reiterate the importance of this. Governance ni is usually the routine part of our work. And as for that, benda yang kita tak suka tapi kita kena buat. So sometimes kita tak pause to reflect on our governance. And governance ni inherited, kita dah buat bertahun-tahun. Okay, so sekarang kita tak pause, kita tak perasan yang dia sebenarnya not as facilitating, it's not as effective. Sometimes, but sometimes we are blessed, we have a very good takbir urus. Sometimes orang yang buat tu tak faham ataupun tak memahami kepentingan takbir urus itu dan kejituan yang diperlukan. Okay, contohnya lah hal-hal peperiksaan. Okay, tiap-tiap hari saya akan terima daripada school kesilapan ni, kesilapan itu. That is not good governance. So I think sometimes we need to remind our team, semua team kita daripada pensyarah kepada kerani, kepada penolong daftar, kepada timbalan dekan dan dekan, bahawa sometimes our decision, kalau kita tak detect our error, kalau tak detect, kita menginayakan pelajar kita. So I think, I risau lah, I takut yang kita perasan ni is only the tip of the iceberg. Kita tak tahu what has actually gone through the has gone through and not detected. So governance ni will determine the efficiency of your department. Sebab tu PUU, one of the big idea is to create agile governance. Tapi it's not easy, okay? Because sometimes governance give the idea of status quo, rigid, tak boleh tukar. So I think this is where we need to be clever. Always review how your governance is being served and executed. Okay, saya pernah buat ni di Awam. We were very amazed to see that almost 80 or so activities in the school are related to academic. 80 aktiviti, daripada daftar, exam, macam-macam. Okay, and before we did that, we did not appreciate as much the work that was being done by the academic team. Okay, bila kita buat untuk HR, wah, sama banyak lah. And I think sometimes kita tak reflect, and sometimes kita create unnecessary bureaucracy and steps. Sometimes to close one integrity issue, semua orang kena buat. Okay, so we create unnecessary steps, and that sometimes hamper kita punya good governance, and it slows things down and makes it ineffective. And timeliness, itu kadang-kadang timeliness. Okay, walaupun there is a danger of procurement contohnya, tapi kadang-kadang kalau kita tak hati-hati, it will make things untimely and we have lost the opportunity. So I think benda ni kita kena balance. And the point of the starting point is usually at the school. Okay, so I think not necessarily the school lah. I take it back. Sometimes it's my office. Sometimes it's the Naib Chancellor office. So the whole team must understand that you are part of the process. So if good governance doesn't prevail, sometimes kita tak dapat nak deliver effectively and with quality whatever that we need. And remember, these are all routine stuff. Okay, governance should be enabling and not hampering. or putting unnecessary obstacle. I believe in this, and we need to unlock kalau benda itu berlaku. Determine what can be changed and what can be made to change and what will be difficult to change. Basically, challenge the status quo. Okay, so governance is something that is important, but can be in the danger of ni. But the bottom line is that as a leader, you cannot ignore this. Okay, you cannot ignore this, because if you ignore this, sometimes inilah yang akan menghambat you, yang akan membuatkan you tak boleh progress. Kedua, talent. This is your most important asset. Okay, Asia menganggap dia punya talent, dia punya style lebih penting daripada klien dia. Okay, that's not an easy thing to say, but that is their company belief. Okay, ignore your talent at your peril. Okay, if you ignore them, you akan ada masalah. Okay, and of course, as you know, at USM, you are expected to take care of your talent. Okay, take care means you have to nurture them. You have to have a good plan. You have to have a succession plan. Jangan terkejut bila 20 orang meninggalkan pusat pengajian you. I mean, that is not good succession planning lah. We have to be prepared. We have to come up with a good succession plan, not only in terms of numbers, but in terms of quality, in terms of content, in terms of ability, in terms of skills. And sometimes these skills are not the mainstream skills. These are the skills that people can do good videos. These are the skills that people can become, that can be make the school together, because dia hebat dalam bila buat team building, dia lah orang yang ke depan contohnya. Ya. Sometimes we ignore them. Kita duk fikir pasal benda yang akademik saja. Okay? Leaders must have the people's management attribute, and ladies and gentlemen, this is very difficult. It needs, because bila kita deal with people, kita punya own quality ataupun less quality keluar. So you need to be able to do that. And sometimes when you have a team that is actually helping you, it will help. Okay, I'm between you and lunch, so I have to nak berah. We also have resources, okay, under for you to manage. Sebab tu saya kata tiga-tiga ni tak boleh di-ignore. These resources is under your care, okay. And these are very important for many of us. You are responsible for your annual budget and other forms of financial resource, planning, expenditure, procurement, and to be financially sustainable. If you don't take charge of this, you are bringing yourself to a lot of risk. Sama ada orang around you are not honest, you akan terjerat. Ataupun you tak tahu the cash flow of your school, ataupun the expenditure profile. By the time you need something very urgent, duit dah habis. I think you need to know. Walaupun the operational is done by others, the reason that penurunan kuasa diturunkan kepada anda ada sebabnya. Okay, it's not just a mere process, it is also tanggungjawab. Okay, be careful, there are many traps here. Tadi Datuk pun dah cakap, this is the biggest room where your integrity will be tested, sometimes unknowingly, tak perasan. Okay, but there's no excuse for that. And di sini pun kena banyak doa, sebab sometimes you get into a trap. Okay? So I think at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, walaupun kita berstrategi, kita perlukan banyak bantuan emosi, kita perlukan banyak bantuan rakan-rakan, kita perlu get the buying in of your team, so that we are confident and we trust that our team is on the same page as we are, and they are concerned with you of the same aspiration and goals. So do not ignore, do not take lightly these three resources. And my final slide, sorry, dia lari lagi, take home message. An organization cannot remain static. Okay, that's my first point. And please, take home message, I think any organization cannot remain static, because you will see banyak dah irrelevance happening, even dalam USM. Okay, you mungkin tak perasan, tapi daripada persepsi orang lain, you are at least less relevant than before. And kalau kita tak hati-hati, you can become irrelevant totally. And we don't want to come to that stage. Okay. Leaders must be strategic to ensure that progress is always made. Okay. So saya cuba try to bring down something that is very high, conceptual, to something that I hope you can relay. Pre-100 days, first 100 days, coming up with a structure, putting it into SKT, and understanding how to cascade down. Okay, cascade down any changes, any direction, any new emphasis to your team. And we have that mechanism, which is called SKT. So please know how to use it wisely. It will insyaAllah help. One thing yang saya mungkin tak nyatakan tadi, bila you ada satu framework seperti mana yang saya cuba cadangkan tadi, kadang-kadang kita get frustrated because one project did not deliver. But it's not total failure, because they can, you know, they may be other projects that can also help you to achieve the outcome. So this is the beauty of outcome based. One outcome can be served by many different ways, different projects, different teams. And if you can do that, you will see that your team will be flourishing, your school will be flourishing. The unit you are leading must be aligned to the organizational goal. This is number one. Okay? And as middle managers, as I said, you must be able to be strategic, know how to be tactical, and must be excellent at operation. I think this is essence of having a strategic thinking, able to get your team together within a strategic framework. And insyaAllah, kalau you buat benda tu dengan baik, you akan dapat capai you punya goal, aspirasi seperti mana yang dikehendaki oleh diri you, oleh school you, oleh center you, dan juga oleh universiti. So itu saja yang saya ingin berkongsi. Saya harap ia memberi manfaat kepada semua. Sekurang-kurangnya dapat membayangkan apa yang you buat day to day itu dalam konteks mana. Dan saya rasa persoalan saya pertama tentang apa itu strategik, tactical, operational dan firefighting telah terjawab. Kerana setiap satu itu mempunyai signifikan yang tersendiri. Bagi saya, firefighting is something yang kita tak nak ada, walaupun sukar, tapi kalau dikurangkan maka banyaklah masa kita untuk berstrategi. Okay, and I think again congratulations to all of you. Mungkin tak semua yang akan dilantik, tetapi sekurang-kurangnya you adalah pemimpin dalam keluarga, you adalah pemimpin dalam community, you adalah pemimpin dalam your own team of researchers, dan macam-macam lagi level pemimpin, dan tak semestinya you hanya memimpin apabila dilantik sebagai seorang ketua. Saya memohon maaf juga sekiranya ada contoh-contoh yang saya beri agak kurang sesuai. Saya harap kita semua dapat manfaat sepenuhnya daripada program ini, dan saya doakan yang terbaik untuk kita semua. Sekian, wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.